Hi there everyone, JJ here. So welcome to my channel today and thanks very much for tuning in. This channel is all about jumping rope. I've been jumping rope now for about 12 or 18 months and over that time I've lost an obscene amount of weight, improved my fitness and most of all my mental health as well. So my channel is all based around that. It's going to include everything from tutorials on where to start, what ropes you should use, reviews on different ropes, and most of all the helpful hints that can help you learn all those tricks that I have over my journey. So tune in. Today I thought I'd start with what rope to start with. It's really important that you get the right rope to start off with. There's a lot out there and there's a lot more to think about than what you first think. So let's get into it. Enjoy. Hi there everyone, we're back. So you've taken the leap of faith to start jumping, which in itself is fantastic. Well, for those of you that didn't know, I'm actually a golf instructor in my normal day-to-day life. So I've been coaching people how to play golf for over 25 years. And the first thing when people come to me and say, how important is equipment? Well, in golf it's super important. And unfortunately you see a lot of people don't make the improvements they could simply because they don't have the right equipment. Well, when I first started jumping, I didn't really realise there was as much to it as there is in golf. So I started off with a rope that was just a cheapo from down the local sports store. I was really struggling and then got some advice similar to what I'm going to give out to you guys today, and I just wasn't aware of what's actually out there. So when it comes to the rope, there's three things that you need to be aware of, and we're going to go through all three of them today as quickly as we can. Number one, the length. The length is critical, depending on how tall, how good your form is. They're the two things there that we're going to discuss. Number two, the weight. The weight is something that I had no idea about. All ropes are weighted differently and for different purposes and for different levels of fitness. And thirdly, what type of rope? Where are you going to be jumping? Is it on concrete? Is it inside? Is it outside? Where is it? So we're going to run through all those three. So let's start off with the length. So we're back everyone, and we're going to start off with talking about the length of the rope. And I've got a couple of ropes here. One, this is the length that when I first started, and two, this is now the length that I'm using now. So this brand that I recommend that I'm going to talk about over the journey, over all my tutorials, is from CROSSROPE. In my opinion, it's the best branded rope out there. It's a weighted rope. It's an interlocking system that you can change the length of ropes, etc. But in my opinion, it's the best out there for everyone. However, it is a little more expensive than other brands. In saying that, it's best to start off on the right foot, so to speak. But I will give you some other options as well to at least start off with some cheaper options and see how they go. But you'll see by what I'm going to talk about today how important these things are. So first of all, in a basic measure up, if you actually have a rope, if you get an adjustable rope from, like I said, just any run-of-the-mill sports store, and if you stand on the bottom of the rope, you'll notice that the handles should roughly come up to about your nipple line. That's where they should roughly come up. Now, I'm a little more advanced. I've been jumping rope for a period of time now. That in the real world is where they should finish up. When you first start off, you really want a rope that's a little bit longer, okay? You really want it sort of in between the nipple line and the top of the armpits. That's probably where you need it to be. So the rope that I started with was much longer. It was at least about 3 inches, 4 inches longer than these. Form has a lot to do with it. As you improve your form, you'll notice that your arms will actually come into your body a little bit more. Most people, when they first start off with their arms out wide because it's a little bit easier. But once you get into it, you'll get your arms in. What that effectively does is shorten the rope. So the biggest bit of advice I can give you is you need to muck around with some different lengths. Get some different brands that allow you to actually adjust the rope. There are some cheaper brands that actually allow you to do that. CROSSROPE, for example, is fantastic in the sense that you can start off with a particular size. They have a sizing guide on their website, and then from there, within 60 days, if there's any issues with the length, you can actually change it over. So the bottom line is for length, I started off with a rope that was much longer than what I'm using now. I'm 6'2". Over the journey, I've got better. My form's improved. When you have a shorter rope, you can do a lot more with it. Your speed increases because the rope becomes shorter. And at the end of the day, it makes life easier as far as tripping goes. If it's too long, the rope will bounce out in front too much and will actually hit too far in front of you and will actually bounce before it gets to your feet. Therefore, you'll trip over it. If it's too short, okay, that's probably the less one. I see most people with it too long initially, so it's too long and they get that trip. If it's too short, you won't be able to jump over it. So the bottom line is, it's a bit of a hard one to give a definite answer on. However, rope length is critically important, and I suggest you starting off with something that's adjustable and that you can muck around with and try a little bit of trial and error. So the next one we're going to discuss is weight, and that one there I didn't know too much about. Okay everyone, we've covered off length, which was really important and something that's pretty basic for most people I think to understand. But the next thing that we're going to talk about is the weight of the rope. And it was something that when I first started off jumping, I had absolutely no idea what it was, if it was even available, and how important it was. So every rope that you see out there has different weights and they're designed for different purposes. Some are designed for a strength type workout, some are designed for an endurance workout, and some are designed to be really fast. So most jump ropes that you see in general sort of sports stores are quite wiry and quite thin and designed for speed. And they're also really flimsy, so they don't spin nicely. They tangle up and they make life really hard when you're trying to sort of get some endurance and get a little bit better at it. So the bottom line is, from an advice point of view that I can give you, is that when you first start off, or if you're a beginner to sort of intermediate level, always try to find something that's a little bit heavier. So again, let's go back to CROSSROPE. If you jump on the CROSSROPE website, which is on the link here below as well, you'll see that they start off with £1/4 pound, £1/2 pound, £1 pound, £2 pound, £3 pound, and go right up to some heavy ropes. I would recommend starting off with something like the £1/2 pound or the £1/4 pound. This is the £1/2 pound rope that I'm holding in my hand here. It's nice and, I won't say heavy, but it's a little bit heavier than the normal speed ropes that you see out there in the general marketplace. It's a great starting rope. The £1/4 pound rope, which is the green rope, is just a little bit lighter, a little bit faster. If you want to do a little more endurance type workouts, it's probably the one to use. This one in my right hand is their 6 ounce rope. It's more of a speed rope. You'll see it's quite wiry, it's quite thin, so great for speed, great for doing double unders. But again, if you're starting out, you want something definitely with a little bit of weight, and I recommend the £1/2 pound rope from CROSSROPE, which is fantastic. There are 100% other options out there. There's lots of alternatives, but again, look for something that has a little bit of weight. £1/2 pound is probably the best way to start. And as I said, you can then go up from there and get the heavier ropes, but you'll find with the heavier ropes, they're easier to learn with, so they're easier to learn skills and develop things with, but they're also much harder to do for long periods of time, okay? All right, we've covered 2 out of 3, let's go to the last one. So everyone, we've covered the most important 2, and that's length and weight. Now we're just going to have a really quick discussion about what type of rope, meaning more so what is the rope made out of? Is it PVC? Is it wire? Is it really thin? So you want to be really positive on where you're actually going to be training most of the time first in regards to this one. If you're going to be training outside in an outdoor environment with no matting or etc., it's really important that whatever you buy is quite thick and durable. So most of the specs you'll be able to check out from the manufacturer that you decide to go with. But again, it's really important that you first of all establish where you're going to be training. You've got the right length, you've got the right weight, making sure that you've got those 2 first, and then finally making sure that where you're going to be training matches up to what rope you actually decide to get. Biggest one for that one, there are so many brands out there. Once you've decided sort of where you're going to be doing most of your training, the only thing that you're trying to do there is preserve the life of this little baby. Everyone, we're at the end. What am I going to suggest and what are you going to do? So the verdict, we've talked about length, we've talked about weight, we've talked about type. So with all that, what do you do? Well, there's heaps of brands out there, there's heaps of choices. It's a bit like I said in my golf days, where do you start with a set of golf clubs? There's a lot of information out there. However, my recommendation is CROSSROPE. Yes, you'll look at it and go, oh, $150 for a rope, that is crazy. I look at it the other way and say, start off on the right foot, get yourself the right gear initially. It's a small investment when you're looking at investment for your health, and especially when it comes to joining a gym or any other piece of material that you might actually use. So my recommendation is CROSSROPE for a few reasons. Number one, they have everything covered. The handles that they have are absolutely outstanding. It will make your journey of actually learning jumping ropes so much easier and so much more efficient. Secondly, they have the quarter pound, they have the half pound, the 1 pound, the 3/4 pound, all the weights, and it's not just a rope, it's a full body workout and a full exercise program. So it changed my life as far as thinking about skipping as just jumping rope and that's it. It's way more than that. And also their guarantees. So for example, the first rope I bought, I used for a while. I'd even used it outside of the 60-day warranty. It got a little bit long, made a phone call. Their support channels are fantastic. Got a replacement rope pretty much straight away. So if you do find that anything damages or there's any damage with the rope, or most importantly that it doesn't suit you, they have that guarantee of actually keeping your peace of mind that they'll change it over for you. So whatever choice you make, the other option is probably to start off with a really cheap alternative. There's lots out there. However, I've tested some ropes in recent times. I'm not going to name brands, not into that. However, I'll say that it was pretty much impossible to improve. You get what you pay for, and in this sort of game, it's not like you're spending thousands and thousands. A couple $100 can get you some great gear and give you a great opportunity to start. So hope you've enjoyed this. As I said, please subscribe to my channel. There's going to be lots more information on tutorials and how to get jumping over the coming weeks. So please subscribe and send me through any questions you have. Just jump.